What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast. On today's episode, we got Hot Take Tuesday and we got some college football playoff to talk about. I think I need to start recording these college football episodes like right after they happen and just have them vaulted in the bank, ready to go, because it's just hard to jog my memory after so much football has happened. We did have a pretty entertaining Monday night football game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Indianapolis Colts. And shout out Uncle Rivers, man. He went out there and he looked good. I thought after the first play of the game where he underthrew Michael Pittman, we might be in for a doozy here with Papa Rivers, but he played well. He was orchestrating stuff at the line of scrimmage like a 44-year-old grandpa should. And I was honestly really impressed with Phillip Rivers. And I had a sad thought that entered my mind. I thought to myself, I was like, maybe Phillip Rivers could be a good bridge quarterback for the New York Jets next year. That's how you know we're in a dark spot here. That's how you know things have gotten out of hand over there in Florham Park. And I'm still entertaining the idea. And that is just sad. Like, if we can't get Fernando Mendoza, if we can't get Dante Moore, why not take a chance on a guy in the later rounds like Jordan Mayaba or oh gosh, why did I think of Pavia? That's not good. We're in a bad spot. Pavia is coming to my head here. Or just think about a quarterback in the later rounds, a project quarterback, have him sit for a year behind Phil. And if things go according to plan, you still have enough ammunition to move up and get a quarterback in the 2027 class, and you can have a duel between that guy and the cat that's been sitting behind Phillip Rivers. And we're in a bad spot here if we're talking about Phillip Rivers as my starting quarterback in 2027 or 2026. But he looked good. He looked good. He was operating the offense. He was getting the ball out fast. He was really orchestrating stuff at the line of scrimmage like a pro, like an elite quarterback, like an elite Hall of Fame quarterback should, and that was on display. He did a good job. Brock Purdy wasn't good. Brock Purdy is the most overhated, underrated quarterback in the NFL. That guy had 5 touchdowns. He was throwing absolute dots. And where I think Brock Purdy's game is so underrated is what he can do off script, what he can do as an athlete. Because nobody talks about Brock Purdy, the escape artist. Everybody talks about Brock Purdy as the product of the Kyle Shanahan scheme. But two things can be true at once. Brock Purdy throws with incredible anticipation, and Kyle Shanahan's scheme is also very quarterback friendly. Brock Purdy also has an underrated ability to throw the ball with accuracy on the run, to evade the sack, and to play make with his legs. And that was on display on the play where he rolled out to his right, threw an absolute seed while on the run to Jake Tollinger that they didn't even rule a catch, even though it was, he got both feet in. They didn't even bother overturning it because they're like, you know what? We'll just throw it to Christian McCaffrey. He's wide open for a touchdown. Brock Purdy is the real deal. I think Brock Purdy is good enough to quarterback a team to a Super Bowl victory, and we might be able to see that out of the San Francisco 49ers team if they can get all their guys back, because they control their destiny for the number 1 seed in the NFC right now. Their offense is firing on all cylinders against a Colts defense that isn't a bunch of slouches, and they just got DeForest Buckner back this week as well. Obviously, the secondary's banged up. No Ward or no Sauce Gardner, but still, Brock Purdy is the real deal. This Niners offense is the real deal, one of the best in the NFL, and I think we should start talking about Brock Purdy with a little bit more respect, and I will get into him later in today's episode as we get into the hot takes. As far as the Colts are concerned, listen, the Jets got their first-round pick this year. The Jets got their first-round pick next year. We're looking at a real possibility that the Jets are going to have 2 picks in the top 10 in 2027, because the Colts, I don't see the vision there. I think their defense will be very good next year, fully healthy, with Sauce, with Trevarius Ward. But who knows what this offense is, man? I think they'll be good. We'll see what Daniel Jones comes back from his injury. We'll see what type of player he is. But still, I don't know. I think there's a legitimate world where things could fall apart. They're 1-4 since making that all-in move to go get Sauce Gardner. I guess 1-5 now, so not ideal for Indianapolis. And it sucks because they were having a good year, but they didn't really beat a whole lot a good team. Like, they lost to the Rams. They beat the Broncos on a fluke leverage call. Like, they didn't. I think they beat the Chargers too, so that's a good win. But still, I was never really fully bought in on this Colts team. And it started to show even before Daniel Jones' injury. Like, teams were getting pressure in his face. Like, that Steelers game was rough. That Falcons game, I think that was overseas, was rough, even though they were able to squeak by with a W. Like things were starting to unravel before Daniel Jones' injury. So let's not act like the season was a gem and then Daniel Jones got hurt. It wasn't looking good. They were going to lose that game against the Jaguars that Danny Dimes got hurt in anyway. I truly do believe that. So I don't think it's all sunshine and rainbows over there in Indianapolis. And also, by the way, man, people probably wonder, like, why do I always wear a Jets shirt in every video? Dude, it's the method. It is absolutely nothing. You talk crap on a team while wearing a Jets shirt and you post a clip about you talking shit on said team, how many comments are just going to be Jets fan, Jets fan, Jets fan, Jets fan? Like, buddy, I got you right where I want you. You are literally falling for the method, you absolute bozo. And if you genuinely think because there is a person that is a fan of a bad team that they just can't talk about sports because they root for a bad team, you are an absolute clown. And there's this guy, Joel Moran, who runs the Pick a Side podcast. Good. He has a good thing going. I think those guys are absolute lunatics, but they have a good thing going. They have like 300K on TikTok. Good for them. He was a Jets fan. He switched to a Packers fan. How on earth could you do that? Spineless coward. That is cowardly behavior. That is, I could not trust you with my girl type of behavior if you're going to switch up on the New York Jets. Just classless, disgusting, disturbing behavior. That is not what America is built upon. It's not built upon you jumping ship when time gets hard. And I find it embarrassing that a person that has a following as this Joel Moran guy does would do such a thing in the sports media world. He deserves all the shit he gets for that. That is just unbelievably disgusting. The team is bad. I understand if you don't watch as intently, like that's fine. Like I'd be lying if I say I tune in to the Brooklyn Nets as often as I did. I was watching them every single day during the Kyrie KD era. I'd be lying if I said I'm sprinting to my TV to put on the Nets every single game, even though I did watch them beat the Toronto Raptors, who were the number 4 team in the Eastern Conference, by the way. Danny Wolf is ascending. Yegor Domin is ascending. Michael Porter Jr. deserves an all-star. We should trade him for a few first-round picks. If you need a score, hit the phones. Michael Porter Jr. need to get out of Denver to really force. That guy's an absolute bucket, unironically. That guy's a bucket. And the Nets are scrappy, man. The Nets are scrappy. They have one of the best defensive ratings in the NBA in the month of December, only behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, the rookies, we need to see more. I wish they'd give Danny Wolf more runtime because he does look like a baby Jokic, Jewish Jokic, they call him. He's a stud. Let's stop talking about the Brooklyn Nets. But listen, everybody clowned on them at draft night for the 5 first-round picks. It looks like they found some guys potentially. It's too early to tell, but Yegor Domin's confidence just keeps growing, and Danny Wolf has flashed legitimate superstardom upside, unironically. So we'll see. And Michael Porter Jr. That's enough Nets talk. The point is, how are you going to be a New York Jets fan? Run a sports media content page, sports media business, and jump ship from your favorite team. How'd this guy amass a following? Mass Joel Moran on following. That is just classless, disgusting, spineless, Charmin ultra soft coward behavior. And we do not stand for that over here at Fire Sports Takes. Obviously, I'd rather suffer as a Jets fan for the next 50 years than ever think once about jumping ship. This is my team. I die with this team, and I will ride for this team until the wheels fall off or until I'm a decrepit, old, senile bastard with Alzheimer's thinking about the Darrelle Revis in 2015 and 2010 in 70 years. I will not jump ship like that coward over there at Pick a Side or whatever their stupid podcast is that every time I watch, I just get angry because they don't know what they're talking about. Either way, I have wrong takes too. They just are way more wrong than I am, obviously. And I can admit when I'm wrong, which is something I like to pride myself on. Like the Bears take I had. Absolute idiot, absolute buffoon, hand up. I'm a clown for that. And I deserve to be clowned in my comments section for that, which is why I leave my videos up. I don't delete comments. I don't delete videos. If I am wrong about a take, I will let you guys cook me in the chat all day long. And there was one player that I was very wrong about, and that was Marcel Reed. Maybe not wrong. I still believe in Marcel Reed, but that's a good segue. Let's hop into this college football playoff recap. Electric first round. It really was. And I understand we had 2 bad games with the JMU and Tulane, the G5 schools. Obviously, they're going to change it. Like, that's the beauty of this new format is that as like things happen, like last year, it was like, okay, the 4, like it shouldn't be all conference winners that get buys. They made the adjustment, and now it's way better. We don't have a team like but didn't Boise State have a bye last year? Like the 4 best teams, I think, have buys this year. That's way better. We also understand now that the seeding, the way that they did, like the 4 highest ranked conference champions, well, nobody expected the ACC to take an absolute shit so that your 4th and 5th ranked highest conference champion is actually a 2 G5 schools. Like nobody thought that would happen. They're going to amend that. I assume they would. And I think we have to let at least one G5 team in. I don't hate that at all. But it has to be, the criteria needs to be stricter for how that G5 team gets in. And I shouldn't say we need one, but they need to be undefeated. Number one, they can't have any losses on their resume, and they need to have a win, at least one win or two wins against a Power 14. And a legitimate like ranked opponent. Maybe I don't know. They need to be undefeated. Should be the number one criteria, and then they also have to pass the eye test. That's got to be the category, the criteria for a G5 team to get in. Because honestly, as good as that Oklahoma Alabama game was, and as good as that Texas A&M Miami game was, which for a 10-3 ball game, I was pretty entertained the whole time. It left you thinking like, what could have been if we got Texas, Oregon, and we got Notre Dame, Ole Miss, like that. Like the games were good. Like I enjoyed the first round of the college football playoff, but it felt like there was more to be had from an entertainment standpoint. The committee obviously knows that, and people give the committee a lot of shit. And I was one of them. I thought Miami had no business being in. There's another example. Obviously, I was wrong. They beat Texas A&M. They're a damn good football team. They have one of the best trenches in all of sports. I forget their other DN's name. He's a beast too. But Ruben Bain's a monster. Their other defensive end is a monster. And their offensive line imposed its will. Carson Beck wasn't under too much pressure all day. He sucks. He just really sucks. And their offensive line imposed their will in the run game as well. Like Texas A&M led the country in sacks, tied with Oklahoma, who we'll get into later, and they only sacked Carson Beck 2 times. Just Carson Beck, he stinks. He sucks. Ohio State, I think, their defense is going to have some problems. Matt Patricia's licking his chops looking at Carson Beck. And the Achilles heel for Texas A&M's defense all season long was their run game, and Fletcher had an absolutely incredible day. I was thinking to myself as this game was going on, like, why isn't Miami running the ball more? As a Texas A&M stan, as a Texas A&M better, I was scared. I was like, they need to just be running the ball every single play. They're getting 5 yards to carry with Fletcher. And eventually that's what it was down the stretch. But like, why didn't they just commit to the run game earlier? It was working the entire time. That Carson Beck basically should be no, that's disrespectful to Carson Wentz, honestly, to compare him to Carson Beck. He shouldn't have thrown the ball 20. They shouldn't have thrown the ball 10 times. They should have ran the ball with Fletcher every single play. And I think they would have genuinely scored 24 points. Like, that's how dominant this run game was. He was averaging 10 yards a carry. They didn't have an answer. They didn't want to tackle him. And Texas A&M has been bad against the run. Against Arkansas, they gashed them. Arkansas, worst teams in the SEC, worst teams in Power 4. They ran all over A&M. Notre Dame ran all over A&M. Their weakness was their run defense. I don't know why that wasn't the plan and why it took Miami so long to get Fletcher going on the ground. But obviously, we have to talk about Marcel Reed, and he is included in my Hot Take Tuesday, so I won't talk too much on him. Bad day for Marcel Reed. Obviously, the fumble, the 2 interceptions, both were bad. But I think I'm just romanticizing the flashes that you see with him, man, and you really do see the flashes. Like, the deep ball accuracy all season was pretty electric, man. It really was. It's just the short to intermediate stuff. He just gets so sloppy. He misses bad. His processing needs to get faster. He needs to get to the second read faster, but he's so good with his legs. He's so good escaping the pocket. He has the arm strength. He has the arm angles. It's just the little accuracies. Accuracy is like, it's not a you have it or you don't with accuracy. That is fundamental. That is development. Like, you can get accurate. You can get more accurate. You can throw with more anticipation. Like, those are things that can be learned. Those aren't traits. Marcel Reed has traits. Deep ball accuracy is the hardest thing to hone in on, and he has it. He has the arm. He has the elusiveness. He is Jaden Daniels 2.0, just not as accurate. But that was the thing. I'll save that for my Hot Take Tuesday spiel. Marcel Reed played his worst 2 games of the year in the last 2 Texas A&M games against Texas and against Miami, but he had them right in an opportunity. Oh, they were so close, man. They were so close. And he's been clutch all season. He was clutch against Notre Dame. He was clutch against South Carolina. And that second half against South Carolina was genuinely one of the best halves of college football I've seen a quarterback play. He was legitimately perfect after a horrible first half. I just love this kid. I do. The ceiling is so there. Like, he's only 21. He's a sophomore. Like, the ceiling is so high for him. If he can just develop one more year of development, I think he can. I'll save it for Hot Take Tuesday. I really do like Marcel Reed. I'm not done. I'm not giving up on him. Everybody's on his dick right now, and that's fine. Mario Craver is disgusting, by the way. He's a sophomore. He did say he'll be back at Texas A&M. That guy's ridiculous. I think listen, there's the kid in Auburn. You have, obviously, Jeremiah Smith. Who knows what's up with Mario Craver right now? There's a bunch of guys in that receiving class, the 2027 class. Mario Craver's up there with the best of them. Obviously, well, I guess I shouldn't say that because he's not up there with Jeremiah Smith, but he's up there with the best of them, excluding Jeremiah Smith. He is a fucking problem with the ball in his hands. His route running is underrated. He's obviously not a contested catch guy. He's like 5'10". He needs to put on a little bit more weight so he can catch those balls, make a living over the middle of the field, get the ball in open space. Like if this guy finds his way into like a Shanahan or a McVay scheme, or even like a Ben Johnson scheme where he's going to get schemed open all the time, like, or a Tanner Engerstrand type of offense where he's going to get schemed open all the time and he's going to get the ball in open space. Look the fuck out, because I think that guy is going to be a real steal in a couple of years if he can continue to develop. Again, only 20 years old. He was 2 yards. He had 2 less yards on the year than Casey Concepcion, who just declared for the NFL draft. He's projected to be probably a day 2 pick, maybe late day 1 pick. So he had 2 less yards and he's a sophomore. So this guy's a real problem. He led Texas A&M in receiving in the college football playoff. So he's a real problem. He's coming back for another year. Ruben Owens, Le'Veon Moss, I think they're coming back. They needed more out of their running backs in this game as well. Shout out, tip your hat to Miami's run defense. They're going to have their hands full next week with Bo Jackson and company. Good win for Miami. I mean, their defense played well. I just don't trust this offense against Ohio State. But they do, like, if anybody has the guys to block Ohio State, it definitely is Miami. I think they have the best offensive line in the country. Yeah, they're they're good in the trenches, but they're skill players. Just Malachi Tony had the fumble. Shout out Malachi Tony for like bouncing back after that fumble and scoring the touchdown. He's such a well-spoken kid for being 18 years old. Like in the post-game interview, that guy's gonna be a stud. That guy's gonna be a first-round pick. I'm curious to see if Miami will keep him around. I don't see why they wouldn't. He's probably. I mean, he's one of the best freshmen I've ever seen, respectfully. Yeah, but then again, keep in mind, guys, I didn't start watching college football until really this was the first year in my life where I really watched like a lot of college football, because when I was in college at West Virginia, I was at the games all the time, or I was getting drunk, so I wasn't as locked in. But I did watch a lot of college football. Obviously, like away games, I wasn't fully, but every home game, so every other week, or basically every other week per average, I'm not locked in to the full slate. And then before college, when I was in high school, I went to high school in the Northeast. Like I would tune into the big games, but I wasn't dialed because when I was doing stuff on Saturdays. And two, it's just it's different. It's different in the Northeast. Like we're not as diehard about our college basketball as we are about the NFL. Like it's definitely NFL is king. But as I've discovered, the more soft you get, the more college football has become king. And listen, I used to be firmly in the NFL is better than college football. I still think that, but college football is electric, man. It's so much fun. So it's just awesome. Like I'm happy that I've gotten really fully into it this season. But that's why I say like Marcel Reed's one of the best halves I've ever seen by a quarterback, like against South Carolina. Keep that in mind. Well, I mean, Hendon Hooker against Bama was also crazy. And Joe Burrow, I did watch some Joe Burrow too. So I guess that's not true. But recently, that was really like, it was incredible. And then like best freshman I've ever seen, Malachi Tony. I didn't watch a whole lot of nasty freshmen because I wasn't as locked in on a week-to-week basis. So keep that in mind with everything I say. If you're thinking to yourself, what the fuck? Like I didn't even know how the old college football like format worked before BCS. Like I didn't know that. Like, that they would just choose a national champion. Like I didn't know that until I went to the House of Highlights and I was talking to this guy and I was like, yeah, I don't even know how it used to work. Yada yada yada. Whatever. I'm rambling, but keep in mind with all my college football takes, I'm still relatively new to the college football landscape. So yeah, good win for Miami. College football playoff win their first college football playoff win. They got their work cut out for them against Ohio State. JMU, Oregon. Shout out JMU for covering. Dante Moore is a dog. The Oregon offense didn't have a drive with more than 5 plays in the first half. They were up 34-6 at half. Dante Moore has all the intangibles: the poise in the pocket, the accuracy on the run, the pocket presence, the escapability. He's not the craziest athlete, but he has the arm angles. He has the makings if he can continue to play well against some of the elite defenses like Texas Tech, if he beats Texas Tech against Oregon or Ohio State. Like he has the chance to play himself into a top 5 pick, dare I say the number 1 overall pick over these next few games. And I think he has the talent to be able to do it. I doubt he goes back to school, even though that Oregon budget is ridiculous. If he plays himself into a top 10 pick, there's no NIL budget that can pay what a top 10 pick is going to get paid in the NFL. And the only thing that can happen if you're going to be a top 10 pick is you sell your stock. And you don't want to do that. And I think Dante Moore is a dog. He was carving up JMU. And yes, it's JMU. They're still a ranked opponent. They were in the college football playoff. Like, it's not just your normal G5 team. That was evident in the second half where they won the second half. They scored more points than Oregon did. Like, they're not complete bums. And he did it against USC as well. Like, he's done it. He did it against Penn State as well. Like, he did it against 4- and 5-star talent all season, Indiana game excluded. But yeah, like, though, do not sleep on Dante Moore. I think he could play himself into a top 5 pick with these games upcoming. Tulane, Ole Miss, didn't watch it. Didn't watch it. NFL was on, but I knew Tulane never stood a chance. I think Ole Miss has a better chance than a lot of people think against Georgia, which I said last week. Trinidad is a dog, and Kawan Lacey is also a piece as well. Oklahoma 24, Bama 34. You gotta respect Bama's resilience. Everybody said they didn't belong for losing 3 games and losing in the fashion that they did to Georgia in the SEC championship game. They responded in a very impressive way after falling back down 17-0. Ty Simpson looked great. Once he got settled in, he had some dots on that long touchdown throw. The Jeremy Bernard catch was just ridiculous. And Bama looked very good against a very good Oklahoma team. They scored 28 points on offense against one of the best defenses in football. And Ty Simpson wasn't under too much pressure on that. He still did get sacked 4 times, but that's way less than he got sacked the first time he played Oklahoma. Way less. I mean, actually, no, I think he got sacked more in this game, but he was under pressure way more in that first Oklahoma game, which caused for it was really just 2 or 3 mistakes in that first game that really cost Bama. Good win on the road in Oklahoma in a college football playoff environment. That's just, can't say enough about how Alabama responded after all the hate they were. Not hate, but just like they put up a stinker. They laid an egg in the SEC championship. I do gotta say though, my one grievance with Bama is how they finished that game, because in the fourth quarter, Oklahoma did miss a field goal, and if they made that field goal, they missed 2 field goals in the fourth quarter. Alabama had 2 chances in the fourth quarter to run a 4-minute offense, drain the clock, ice the game, and they kept giving Oklahoma opportunities. They got within. It was a 36-yard field goal. If they make that really applies the pressure. The next series for Alabama was a 3-and-out, and if Oklahoma did make that first field goal, then it's all they need is a touchdown. It's a 1-possession game. They wouldn't have attempted the second field goal if it was a 1-possession game, if they made the first one. So Alabama, with 2 chances in the fourth quarter, opportunities to lean on their 4-minute offense, which leans on running the football, which has been the number one problem, the number one red flag with Alabama all season, is their inability to run the football. Against Oklahoma in the fourth quarter, they had 2 chances to really operate a 4-minute offense, 3-and-out, Oklahoma missed field goal, 3-and-out, Oklahoma missed field goal. You do that against a team like Indiana, where if you have a lead like Indiana and you need a 4-minute offense, Indiana's won close games all season long. So I would be worried if you're a Bama fan just about their inability to run the ball down the stretch and their 4-minute offense. But I think their passing game, when Ty Simpson is on, is as good as any passing game in the country, realistically. We saw that on that stretch of games where I think they went Vanderbilt, Mizzou. I forget, not South Carolina, because they didn't even play that good against South Carolina. Either way, that's you know the stretch of games where they ranked opponent, Tennessee. I think it was Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Mizzou. Body. And Ty Simpson was just dotting, spraying the ball across the field. We know what this Ryan Grubb offense can be through the air, but we don't know what it has on the ground. And I think that'll be their Achilles heel against Indiana if they're up in that game. If they're losing in that game, I don't know. I think they could come back against a team like Indiana. D'Angelo Paz really they have Indiana's a good secondary. They do have a good secondary, but I like Jeremy Bernard. Ryan Williams has been a ghost, really. I'm gonna say the other guy Thornton is pretty good. So we'll see. I think that's a good matchup. I like Indiana, but I think Bama might have a chance to cover. Might have a better chance than a lot of people think. All right. Hot Take Tuesday time. Let's get into some of these scorching hot takes. The first one is a college football one. I think Marcel Reed can win the Heisman next year. And I know it's an inopportune time to have that take after he just had 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, game-clinching interception on the goal line after he did drive the boys all the way down there pretty easily, I might add. The guy's been a gamer all year. He's very inaccurate on the short to intermediate stuff. He really is. But I think you can compare a guy like Marshall Reed to Jaden Daniels. Because in Jaden Daniels' second year as a starter before he got hurt, he had a 56% completion percentage. He was 60 his freshman year, went down his sophomore year, got up to 65%. But the knock on Jaden Daniels when he was at Arizona State is he's good with his leg, he has deep ball accuracy, but he just misses on the little stuff in the intermediate short game. He was inaccurate early on in his career. So many similarities between Marshall Reed and Jaden Daniels. If he can really develop this offseason and go in the lab, get his footwork correct, get better at reading a defense, you can teach accuracy. You can't teach what Marcel Reed can do with his legs. You can't teach the arm that he has. And he does have he had some of the prettiest deep balls all season. That throw even to Craver against Miami was electric. So Marcel Reed is a great deep ball. Jaden Daniels' completion percentage his sophomore year was lower than 60% before he got injured. If Reed can continue to develop, get the footwork down, get the accuracy down, because that is something, it's not like either you have it or you don't. If he can do all those things, they're already returning Mario Craver. If they can reload on the defensive side of the ball, if they can get him another weapon because they're losing Casey Concepcion in the transfer portal, I think Marcel Reed has a real chance to be the Heisman. And you know, I've been saying he's going to win the Heisman for the past 2 months, and I understand that. But I love this kid, and the flashes are just so unbelievably high. His ceiling is so unbelievably high. Like I said, Jaden Daniels-esque. He just needs to hone in on the little things. And I think people at Texas A&M are talking about like, yeah, get rid of this guy. What? Because he had 2 bad games to end the year. Forget about what he did in Death Valley. Forget about what he did in Notre Dame, in South Bend against Notre Dame, against the Fighting Irish. I was just forgetting. Those are 2 impressive road wins. He stunk against Texas. He stunk against Miami. I understand that, but the ceiling is so high with this kid. You'd be crazy. There's a reason Lane Kiffin tried to recruit him, though. There's to LSU. You'd be crazy to move off of this guy. Okay, Marcel Reed is my way too early Heisman pick. I'm obsessed with this guy, obviously. And if we start next season and it's the same problem where he's just inaccurate on the short to intermediate throws, then throw everything I said out the window. Obviously, the kid doesn't want it bad enough, but I think he does. I think he does, based off of I've never met him and I follow him on Instagram and I've seen how he talks in post-game interviews, and I've seen how commentators and media members have talked about their interactions with him. He seems like he's a confident, hardworking kid. That's what Elko says as well. So I think he has it in him. I think he's going to work hard and develop this offseason, and then look out if this kid can get accurate on the intermediate to middle stuff and start processing a little bit quicker, and they get him another weapon again, like replace Concepcion. College football's in trouble. All right. The New England Patriots would not make the playoffs if they were in the NFC. The QBs of the teams the Patriots have beaten: Josh Allen, Tua, he's benched right now. Spencer Rattler, benched. Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, benched. Michael Penix, Justin Fields, benched. Baker Mayfield, Jackson Dart, Tyler Huntley, backup. What are we talking about here? 3 first-year starters, 4 QBs that have now been benched, and 2 backups. The Patriots have had the easiest strength of schedule in the NFL, and it's not even close. The combined winning percentage of teams that the Patriots played is 380. They are 2-2 against teams above 500, with one of them being a win over the Carolina Panthers. No, I said that with a lot of disrespect to the Panthers. They're still a good football team. That's a good win for them, whatever. That's just disrespectful to say that this New England Patriots team is better than the Rams, the Eagles, the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Bears, and the Packers, because they beaten nobody, because they beat the Titans, Jets, Giants, the Bills once, and the Panthers. We're going to say that this team would be in the playoffs if they were in the NFC, only if they were in the NFC South. Then I can see your argument. But they are not a top 7 team in the NFC. They're not even a top 5 team in the AFC. They've just rode the coattails of a garbage schedule. And once they have to play a real team with a real defense in the AFC playoff, they are going to get bounced. And I think it's going to be ugly. They haven't played a top 10 defense. They've only played one top 15 defense in scoring, and that is the Carolina Panthers, like 13th. They're the most fraudulent paper tiger team in the NFL. That's so obvious. And everybody's saying, well, Will Campbell's coming back. Will Campbell is not even a top 5 rookie offensive lineman, and he was picked 4th overall. The Patriots still were 3rd in sacks allowed with Will Campbell healthy. Their offensive line stinks, and they don't have Jamar and T. Higgins on the outside where they can make up with garbage offensive line play. They just haven't played any elite pass rush that has a somewhat competent offense to complement. So the Patriots are done. They're the worst team in the playoffs. They're a first-round exit. They wouldn't even be in the playoffs if they were in the NFC. And my last hot take for Hot Take Tuesday: Brock Purdy is a top 10 quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. Brock Purdy's last healthy season, 2 years ago, he was top 5 in passing yards, top 3 in passing touchdowns, had the best touchdown to interception ratio out of all of the QBs that were top 8 in passing touchdowns. Brock Purdy is currently, this season, 6th in passing yards per game. He has 18 touchdowns in 7 games. That would be 43 touchdowns on a 17-game pace, or on a 17-game sample size. On that same pace, he would currently be 2nd in the NFL right now if he played 15 games, which everyone else has played, only behind Matthew Stafford. So his numbers right now, stretched across a full season, would be 43 touchdowns, 4,200 yards. So he's put together top 10 statistical seasons multiple times, and the only wins aren't a QB stat, but in case they are for you, the only quarterbacks with higher winning percentages in the playoffs are Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes. The only starting quarterbacks with a higher winning percentage in the regular season are Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Bo Nix. So he's top 5 in statistical. He's had multiple top 5 statistical seasons. He's top 10 in yards per game this season, top 3 in touchdowns per game this season. Wins aren't a QB stat, but if they are, he's top 6 in playoff win percentage, tied for 3rd. He's top 5 in regular season winning percentage, what metric is he not a top 10 quarterback? People love to throw shade at him because he's in a Kyle Shanahan system. Two things can be true at once. The system is very good, and Brock Purdy is also very good. He's very accurate. He throws with a ridiculous anticipation. He doesn't make too many stupid mental errors, and he's an underrated athlete. People don't like to give him credit for his escapability, his accuracy on the run, his arm talent, even though he does have it's in there. Watch the games. Purdy's a top 10 quarterback. Purdy is a top 10 quarterback. So recap the hot take Tuesday. Marcel Reed is my way too early Heisman pick. Way too early Heisman pick. I'm telling you, man, the Jaden Daniels, the ceiling, the flashes are there. He just needs to hone in on the accuracy and the processing a little bit. But those are intangibles that can be taught. Like it's not you have it or you don't. You can get more accurate. We saw that with Jaden Daniels with 60%, 50%, 65%, 68%, 70% and a Heisman at LSU with 40 touchdowns. We've seen players get more accurate as they've developed within the systems in their college football career. So I'm not done with Marcel Reed at all. I think the Patriots obviously wouldn't, like, they're going to get bounced first round. They're the most fraudulent team in the NFL. People are all up, like they're glazing Drake May because he had 2 turnovers and needed a fourth quarter comeback against Snoop Huntley and a Ravens defense that is 25th in the league in pressure rate, 30th in sacks, and has geriatrics in their secondary. Like, Drake May was good. He's made some great throws. He's a top 10 quarterback. I'm not saying he's not, but the Patriots are 2-2 against teams above 500. The teams they lost to above 500, the Bills and the Steelers too. They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Raiders early on this year. For some reason, those games don't count. They beat the Panthers. They beat the Bucks. The Bucks are garbage. Like, their best win is that Sunday Night Football game against the Bills. Other than that, they played, I think, they played 4 teams that are above 500. 4. And they're 2-2. It's a Mickey Mouse run by this New England Patriots team. They're going to get eviscerated in the first round if they play a real football team. If they play the Chargers, I think they can win. But even the Chargers have a good pass rush with 2-2 below 2. If they play the Steelers, I think they could win that game as well. If TJ Watt plays, different story. And then I think Brock Purdy's a top 10 quarterback. And I think people like to talk down what Brock Purdy does because he's in the Kyle Shanahan system. I think if he was in a different system, would he be as successful statistically? Yeah, I think so. I really do think so. I really, really do think so. Maybe not top 5, but he'd be top 10 in categories for sure, depending on like if you throw him on the Titans, it's a different story, obviously. But I think he's a great quarterback, a great accuracy, great pocket presence, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. I love me some Brock Purdy. I've been a Brock Purdy fan for a little while. So yeah. Thank you for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifs. Go follow on all platforms. I go live on TikTok all the time. I'm done getting restricted on TikTok, so make sure you go follow on TikTok for sure. Fire Sports Takes on all platforms. Hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify, hit the follow button so you get notified when I drop new episodes. I love all you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast.